So go to Visual Builder. In the last class, what we have covered is
headers and footers.
okay. So we have covered the header and footer, right? So we will see today how to add the components on the page. How to add the components on the page. Before we add the components on the page, we will see how to connect to database. How to connect the database for VBCS. Yes. Okay. So two ways, two options I can see. Two options Oracle given. Connect with. Two options Oracle given. Connect with the database. Two options Oracle given. Connect with the database in VBCS. One is Oracle provided embedded database. So Oracle provided embedded database. So that contains VBCS by default. That contains only 5 GB data. 5 GB limit. So by default, VBCS have a embedded database that contains only 5 GB limit. So if you see the settings, if you see the settings, tenant database. So now currently this tenant database, for example, if I select this one, what is coming is switch to embedded database. Currently, this VBCS have a ATP database access. So we have mapped ATP database for this VBCS instance. But by default, embedded database will be there. So that embedded database have a only 5 GB limit will be there. But in the real time, we will not use this embedded database. So always we are using ATP database. So how to access the ATP database for VBCS application? So if you use this tenant database, click on update. So you know, right? You drag and drop the ATP wallet password, username and password you can enter and finish. So because we already configured here, that is the reason I am not showing this step. You upload the wallet file that you have and wallet password, username and password. So if you mention and click on finish, then you are able to access the ATP database for the VBCS application. Understand or not? But by default, embedded database access will be there. If you want to switch embedded, then you have to use this option. After embedded switch, if you want to again back to ATP, that is also possible. But what will happen is when we do this option, it will ask whatever the work, applications are there, right? So that applications it will ask for download. So whatever the applications are there, right? So these applications will be downloaded to your local system when we do the switch option. Understand or not?
Vaksham, what is this embedded database?
Just Oracle has provided embedded database which is inbuilt for the VBCS.
Can't we access it in OIC? Is it only accessible to the VBCS application?
Only VBCS only we can access that. Only VBCS only we can access that embedded database.
So we can create the tables and all in the.
That database you cannot access SQL developer.
Okay.
The database you cannot access in SQL developer. Only you can create your business object. There is a concept called business object. That business object called as table. So that we can see only here in the VBCS instance only, not outside.
Okay.
But there is a way there. So what we will do internally when we create the business object, it will create the REST APIs. It will create the REST API. That REST API you can access, but we cannot query that database in the outside of the VBCS. For example, in the embedded database, this is embedded database, right? In embedded database, I have created one business object. Business object nothing but what? Table. So after you create the business object in VBCS, internally it will create REST APIs. What REST APIs it will create? Get all, post, patch, delete. Like that, it will create 5 REST APIs. So you use this REST APIs and you access in the OIC. Got it, no?
Yeah.
So the REST APIs will be listed. After you create the business object, it will give the list of REST APIs. Anyway, that we will see in the further classes. How to see the REST APIs behind the business object.
Yeah.
Then take this REST API URL and wherever you want, you can access the OIC or wherever you want. And you can insert the data, you can update the data, and you can delete the data. You can get only specific record, and you can get all the records for that business object.
Okay.
And this is the embedded database related information I have given. You can use ATP database in the settings. ATP database in the settings. And you can upload wallet using folder. So these are the two options available, but most of the real times this option provided by OCI team. And this settings option, you will not have a developer user. Developer user, you will not have. Developer user, you will not have a settings option. Developer user, you will not have a settings option. So which settings option? Go to the this settings option. You will not have a developer user. Understand or not? Okay. Understand these 2 points or not, guys? Any clarification you can ask me.
Coming to ATP database in OIC, can we have like work with the standard tables also, Vamshi, in ATP database?
No, that is not possible.
Even through like a REST API or nothing like that, it have an option to deal with the standard Oracle tables in ATP database.
No. Only if you want to access that standard data, standard table
Mm.
data, there is only two options available. One is Oracle provided REST APIs or create the BIP report and accessing.
For retrieving the data also, you are saying.
So BIP report you can create, and this BIP reports contain the standard table, right? This BIP report you can store data store into ATP. You can create a staging table. In ATP you can create the staging table. So whatever the data you are retrieving here, that data you can store into staging table. So you can use the 10 minutes every schedule program, and it will get the data and dump into here. That is what it will happen. This is what we had a discussion last class, right?
So you are saying data retrieval. If you want to retrieve the data through standard REST APIs and at the same time BIP report,
Not same
right?
time. Either you can go this one, either you can go this one.
Yeah, that is what. If you want to retrieve the data from the standard tables, right? This is what.
Yeah. These two approaches we have.
And if you want to insert the data, is
Even
that possible? Through API database, ATP database, can we insert the data into the standard base tables?
you can use the REST APIs, na?
Okay.
REST APIs we have a post and patch options are there, right?
Yes.
Why do we have to? Why do we have to go for ATP? We have standard REST APIs provided by Oracle, right? So using the REST APIs, you can use the post option, patch option to create and update the data, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Coming to the settings option, Vamshi, why do we need these settings?
You need to see, for example, if I want to map your, for example, if I give the settings option for every developer, so they have an option to switch, right? They have an
Okay,
option to switch
okay. So only
database.
admin can do this
Admin can do this one.
configuration and give it. Okay.
Even if I given OIC credentials, you don't have settings option. Maybe you observed or not. You don't have option there. For your understanding, let me. Let's see that. So if you go to the ac.dev2, you will not have settings option. Did you observe or not? This is the way in the real time it will be there.
Okay. So the user what we have currently will not have upload option. You
Exactly.
gave us ASC.
Yeah. Correct. See, if I give the settings option now,
Multiple tenant databases cannot be accessed at a single time, right? Only one.
one database, but schemas we can change. See, one database we have schema, right? That part I'm coming next.
Okay.
For example, one database we have a schema, right? Like
Yes.
AP schema, PO schema, like that it will be there, right? So that schemas we can switch it. See, if you look at this one, that I'm going to explain now. For example, if you go to the
You mean the
settings,
user, right? User for the database.
exactly correct. User or schema both are same, right?
Yes.
Tenant database. So if you see the general section, so now if you see the schema, admin schema in the area. So see here, I have mapped the admin schema here. So if you want to add the new schema also for this, click on new schema also. Okay. N number of schemas we can add per tenant for these settings. Got it or not?
Okay.
So for now I used only admin schema. You can add any number of schemas. Like in the real time.
And while developing the VBCS application, like we can select the schema, like on which schema we want to develop it or something.
Yeah,
like
which schema, which database schema you want to store the data, which database schema you want to retrieve the data. So that we need to register here in the tenant settings. So this also will be taken care by OCA, DBA or OCA team. Maybe in the real-time project manager or someone have access, control everything, so they can do setup here.
Okay.
So this is the important thing, guys. Now coming to I will create one new application. Create the new application. VBCS app VBCS app database. Just you can give any name, empty application I'm creating. So if you look at this one, there is a database option, right? There is a database symbol is there, right? No. Okay, first let's create the application, one application. We can give any name. DB app. Click on. So I have created the DB app VBCS one application. One application I have created. Okay. Now, let's say I'm selecting the DB database. Click on business object. So what will happen is okay. Let me note on this point. We can create our own tables. We can create our own tables. Okay. Using business object. We can create our own tables using business object, and we can access tables. We can access tables from the schema directory. We can access tables from the schema directory. So whichever the way you want, you can do. For example, if I create your tables, we can create our own tables using the business object, and this case automatically one custom schema will be created. One custom schema will be created. Even though you mapped that admin schema, right? So that admin schema, let it be, let that will be there. But if you create your own business, your own tables in the VBCS application, that will create one custom schema. Custom schema will be created in ATP. And we can access table from the schema that configured from tenant setting. Understand these 2 points or not? Example. So first we will see this option, then I will show second option also. I'm creating one table. Okay, okay. Let's see. If you go to the business objects, go to the settings. Go to the settings here. Select the business objects. Go to the settings here. Business object. See here what is there. Here what if you go to the settings, there is an option called admin. If I use this option, what will happen? I will show you now. If I use this option, when I click the plus, it will ask second option. This one. Okay, to avoid the confusion, cancel this one. I'm not giving anything here. I'm not giving. Okay, let's like that. If I click the plus, so now it is asking to create the business object. Got it the difference or not, guys?
Can you
Clear?
repeat, Vamshi?
Yeah, sure. See, I'll close the settings option. See, now we have mapped the settings option, right? Settings in the admin schema, right? Admin schema we have mapped right in the general section.
Yes.
For example, I want to access the tables from admin schema into my VBCS application. Okay, then what you will do? Very important is here. Then what you will do? Go to the settings here, top right corner, settings, business objects. Select this option. So that is what I mentioned the second point. For example, I don't want to use any schema which is defined from the tenant settings. I want to create my own tables. Then you don't select anything here. You don't select anything here. So what I will do, I will create the new business objects, something like employee ATP, anything, any name you can give. Okay, you can create. So what will happen when we create the new business object from the VBCS application? It will create one table in the ATP along with one schema also will be created. Custom schema will be created.
And the same schema will be used by the next new business objects that are going to be created, or it will create again new schemas.
Another table you are talking about?
Yeah, if I go ahead and
Another
create
table also same schema will in the same
right?
schema will be created. Okay, anyway, we'll create the two tables. We'll see in the ATP what will be happen. Huh?
Okay.
So click on create. And one more thing is when we create the business objects here, by default, 6 columns will be created. You know who columns in Oracle EBS, right? Creation by created. That columns will be created automatically. Click on create. See, I have created the business objects. Automatically columns created. 6 columns created. And REST API is also created. See? Understand or not? On top of the columns which created by business object, we can create our own columns also here. Let's create the own columns. Click on field. This one. This is the data type. Now, if you look at the settings, you will see the schema name also, business object. See? So,
Yeah.
this is the custom schema. And if you want to access this table from the ATP, you can access. That is possible.
What will be the password for this schema?
Password, I think you can set there also. Let me show you. Directly you can access. It's not coming. SQL another administrator. Select this one. So, so the schema name you can access. That schema you will not have any password. So let's say KXVC. Huh? So you check the last C, right? KXVC last. So this one, see. So now if you look at this one, what is the table we have created? This one. Now you can run this table from here also. And you can insert the data. You can update the data. Everything is possible here. Clear or not?
So if you go ahead and create a table here, new table, will that be accessible in the ATP also, VBCS also?
I don't think so.
DEPT if you create here.
No, I don't think that will not be possible.
Okay.
Let's create. I think it is not possible. Schema name.
You have to give the schema name dot.
As per my knowledge, it is not possible. Let's see. Let's try.
Copy from the VBCS.
Okay. We'll copy from the VBCS. Dot DEPT. DEPT number. Now table created. See, not there. Then you cannot access that.
No refresh button or something?
Huh?
Don't we have any refresh button or anything there?
Refresh. It is coming here, but we will try here. Refresh.
Or maybe when you create the business object, you can access the existing table or something.
Which one?
Maybe when you create a new business object, you can access.
Yeah, that will be possible. See, that is possible.
Okay.
You can create your own business object here. Then that table will be map here. But if you create the table here, Why it is not happening is because, see, the structure of the table here, you are passing the number, varchar to something, right? But the process of the business of the creation is different, right? Here, if you see the business of the creation, something test ATP, huh? You can create.
Giving some who columns before.
See, this process and ID something, if I select the field, see whatever I am selecting string here, but in the database, what you have done, it will not accept the string right here. Got it or not? It will, if I mention the string here, it will throw error right here.
Yeah.
So means, see, that structure of the table, which will be conflict for the business object. That is the reason it will not create the whatever the table we have created in the ATP. It will not appear here.
Okay.
So now I will do something number. So that is the way they have designed. So I have
But
created
when we
table.
create the BO here, it's automatically mapping to the ATP database, right?
See, now if you look at this
Otherwise,
one,
it is doing.
see, now if I look at, if you look at this one, now 3 it will show. See? Showing or not? No.
Yes.
But in case you say that, so how it is possible every time we cannot create here, right? Then in this case, what you will do? Huh? In this case, so in this case, go to the settings, business objects. I think we cannot use. So once the, see here, the problem here is, so once you have created the tables, it automatically creates the schema. You cannot switch another schema here. That is the way it has designed VBCS. But you will ask the question. So we have we have my own schema set there, but my own schema tables I want to access in my VBCS page. Then go to all applications, create one more. ATP, test ATP database. Now what you will do, go to the settings, go to the business objects. Here you can mention the admin schema. Understand or not?
So at the same time, we cannot access multiple schemas. Okay.
Multiple schemas you can access.
Mm.
I think multiple schemas.
Suppose we
I
are
think
creating
only
a
one schema we can
application.
access.
Understand?
Mm.
Let's do this. Understand your question? Click on new schema. Let's say what is another schema? System schema. Something like sys schema you can take. So we have two schemas here in the tenant settings. Now let's go to the test ATP database. Business object. Admin we have given. Refresh. Not coming here. So this plus also disabled. Maybe we have created the application. Let me create a new application. Let's see. I'm not sure guys this one, but I need to check. So now click on settings, business object. Let's see. Why it is not coming?
There is a, can you go back? There is an additional schema that plus for, is that enabled?
Display disabled.
Mm.
But even though we have configured another schema, right? It should show there. So we have configured two schemas, right? Maybe what I'm thinking is this schema maybe some permissions required, I'm not sure. Rented roles. There is a ORDS. Maybe some roles, some grants permissions we need to add. Grant. Let's see. Business object. Did not show. So at a time we can access only one schema, but maybe they have given additional schemas option, right? So maybe other schemas we need to have some permissions or grants required so that it will display here. I think that is possible. Why? Because they have given plus option here. Maybe some grants or permissions required to access other schemas also here. But when we given the admin schema here, if you look at the database, now when I click the plus, what will be happen? You cannot create the new business object here. Only you can access the existing tables here. Whatever that schema having the tables, that only you can access. Understand or not? Hmm? Okay. Tomorrow we'll see, guys, remaining. Tomorrow we'll see how to add the components. This one I will cover how to add the components. After completion of this one, then we will start 3 applications I'm going to show you. One is supplier application, another one is REST APIs, how to call, and then third one is expense report list application. So by end of next week we can complete.
And approvals and all that comes here itself.
Yeah, that also I will cover in the last example.
Okay.
By end of next week we can complete, guys. VBCS.
So
Yeah.
we have like AME or something, right? In EBS, AME approval.
Same thing here also there. That is called PCS, Process Cloud, OPA, Oracle Process Automation.
Okay. You will cover that also?
Yeah, one example I will cover here.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Take care.